Yeah, the sun is really strong this afternoon.
It is,
My
yes.
house too.
But it's not raining as much more.
You have power by you?
Did you lose power?
A lot of parts of the city are in.
Oh, yeah, mine lost power.
Okay, we're
But
live.
it came back on after about an hour and a half. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. I'd like to talk about the minutes for a moment, please. Everyone.
That's fun.
It's only for. First of all, thank you, DJ, for the minute. Medium lemon without an S. And on the first page of the minutes, in parentheses, Director Potter reiterated that the committee is still seeking commitment from the Kingston Arts Commission members so that the group can get off the ground with its work. I was wondering, Kit, if you wanted to.
Where are we starting?
We're on the third paragraph of the minutes that DJ so expertly submitted.
Yes, well,
I see where you are, I'm sorry.
There are parentheses.
Director.
Director.
Reiterated that the committee is still seeking commitment from Casey to get off the core end. You talked about the public art committee?
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I guess we're saying that, and Ward and I talked earlier, that, the commission needs to designate two, members that will, get, like DJ said, get off the ground. This is our inaugural year for the public art committee. So I know that a couple of people have raised their.
I had already volunteered.
You had
2 meetings
volunteered,
ago.
Ward had volunteered, Richard had volunteered.
This is the public art committee we're saying.
Yes. And I'd like to just talk about that because we also interviewed Lester Burr, who has also the expertise. And I also told Ward earlier that before we go into it any further, that we should have the discussion offline, as opposed to live. There's a lot of names that are being thrown out that we haven't even asked people about yet. So for right now, though, I think that, there's 1, 2, 3 here. Should any candidates be appointed, then we can consider that as well. But we do have Richard, Ward, and DJ who have stated that they wanted to serve on the public art committee.
Does it say a maximum of any one?
You have the,
Two
That's
representatives
two
of
members.
the commission,
It's 2 members. Hmm?
3 members of the relevant areas.
Well, what
Oh, but see, you can choose one of us because we have relevant experience, not the members of the arts commission.
here we go.
Oh, right.
Right,
It's the second page.
Okay, so basically it's 2, and then you have the composition here for the rest. And we do have a lot of items for the committee to get started with once we can get kicked off. So I would like to propose that over the next month or two, that we, give me or whomever an assignment of people that we would like to approach. You can email me that. And of the commission, I think it's up to you to decide who will serve, because 3 have, I don't know, I think that's it, right? Lisa, you didn't put your hand up. Cicely, you didn't put your hand up. But beyond this, we also have subcommittees, per any area that's indicated here that will come up for subject area.
Yeah, I'd be more interested in some.
Yeah, quite a few people that I've approached to see if they would have any interest in serving the committee had said no, but the subcommittee specifying sculpture or subcommittee specifying temporary art, or even, looking at the municipal art collection, but I have not had anybody that I've spoken to anyway that has indicated interest in being considered for the committee itself. I also am being encouraged by the mayor to write up a call for applications for the Public Art Committee, because, you know, many people in the community don't know that we have this committee, even though we did put out the press release that we have the Public Art policy task. We have not really done any outreach since, and it might be a good idea to just put a press release out that we're accepting applications. And if you're in favor of that, then I can draft what that looks like in the application itself. As you know, we have a generic application for the commission, but we can be more specific with that and actually look at what we have identified here as the roles and responsibility to be included in that application.
Remind us, please, the number of people who are supposed to be serving on the Public Art Committee.
25 voting,
I
3
voted,
non-voting.
so that's 8.
That's it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the 3 non-voting members per se are.
Yeah, I'm thinking to put out a big announcement for ultimately you're going to be 2 or 3 people. Is, you know, I guess
I
it's
think-
well meant
I think it's probably standard for
I
most
think it's
committees.
standard.
to do a press release.
To have to invite applications.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, I have people that I would talk to. And I think we do that.
So why don't we do that? And I understand out of those who served, that are not commissioners who served on the committee, one has indicated that she would like to stay on as a member of the committee as well. So perhaps I write the commission notes on that. And if anybody has, I have a meeting with some bard coming up, of course, and to see, you know, who might be interested. But I think an application process might be a good idea. Just so we have what's the word, Sarah?
You're following sort of standard operating procedures for
Yeah.
committees. within the city.
I just want to go on with the minutes so that we can, one other thing, at
Sorry.
the last page of the minutes, the wording of the resolution, and it says, a lunchtime task force meeting was suggested for another review and editing. Director Potter will issue another doodle poll to determine the group's best time. And so this is for a AAC resolution review meeting.
These are.
Is that on the agenda too?
No, this was October, we're looking, because we have, remember, we couldn't meet November.
Oh, was it, that's October.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Since
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong ones.
No, I think that's in the advance, right, from October?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's the ones we gotta approve, because we didn't have a meeting.
I want us to be able to approve them, and I'm picking out things to look at and ask about before we
That's
approve.
okay, I mean, because we haven't seen each other in a while.
And I will say, looking at this, it said that I was on board to be part of that committee. And I'm happy to step back if there are going to be other people coming in. I mean, I go to enough meetings.
So we were just talking about you, so again, let's,
But I'll keep my head in the ring if that seems useful, but otherwise.
we'll email on all of that, 'cause
Okay.
there's other folks who are gonna be.
Exactly, so.
Okay, so before I go over the edge, you may have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'm so moved.
Second,
So sad.
all in favor? You're in favor, Susan?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Director's report.
I give you a briefing, of my year in the review. And I hope that everybody got a chance to review, the key accomplishments for 2024, the goals for 2025. Again, this list not being mutually exclusive. But we got a pretty heavy year coming up. I'm super. So if you had a chance to review, if you have any comments or, yes,
I'd like a request to add the Distinguished Artist Award to the accomplishments.
oh, I'm sorry, that's right, you did honor the AA.
And we should actually talk about this exhibition possibility of our distinguished artist.
Oh, yes.
Um,
We did a little business.
And the other thing is, I was, the 2025 goals, are we going to discuss them here? And because I was very interested in the 19th century women's work
Oh,
project,
yes.
Yes, oh, yes.
because I spent 20 years running the foundation.
Yes, no, that,
I'm actually allowed to talk about it now. We've been working on this for the past 3 months, and Carol Wood from the Woodstock Weavers is spearheading the Hudson Valley Textile Arts Showcase, March 29th. And we have partners coming on board, Art Society of Kingston, and to lend support. Basically, it's a showcase of, and I think I delineated it here, it's still in the works. But certainly it's happening. I was hoping, against hope that we would. Okay, so I don't really know the language, but if you can envision, small looms, we're taking over the whole entire building. That's how many of these groups are coming from the Hudson Valley, showcasing, all the different crafts.
Is it a many week exhibition or is it a one day?
11 to 4.
oh,
It's not easy to do. Wow.
She's doing a lot of work. Gathering, quilt makers, weavers, show, and she's got a loom that can fit in the elevator, actually. So she's bringing that to showcase, what shearing looks like. I mean, it's definitely bringing you back to the 19th century and what we did hands-on to make clothing and things like that. What?
No, this is what I did. I had a
Would you
job
like to come to the next
funding
meeting?
textile exhibitions, so that's why I.
Now we can actually, because basically she needed to find a fiscal sponsor, because we can't. And she was able to do that, so now a lot of people that she has identified as people who want, indicated they want to sponsor it, can come forward with the fiscal sponsor in tow to be able to, fund it.
And will the Freedom exhibition still be on?
Absolutely. We have the statue until August, and this is, from the Sojourner Truth era. The,
So this is one day.
Yeah.
why just one day?
Where?
because this building is used for a whole lot of
And
other
I guess
things.
that's just, it just seems like
So
such an interesting thing.
I come in with my quilt. I have a chair and I put my quilt where to be able to unfold it and put it on the wall.
The conference room down, the first floor, we're taking over the whole entire building with us. And she's bringing things to hang things on. She also is developing talking walls for education purposes to talk about the different crafts. She's done a lot of work. I can't speak for her right now because we just got it settled that she has a fiscal sponsor. So she's writing up something beautiful for us and I'll be sharing it with you and we'll be able to put it out there very soon. Would you like to come to the next meeting since this is one of your areas?
No, I mean,
I think
if
it's
you've
great to have.
gotten through with this without me.
No, this is,
Well, go, join.
yeah, she's a great individual, Carol Wood. One of her pieces is, as part of the Freedom Exhibition with John Lewis. That's
Oh.
hers, with Peter. Yeah,
Are they accepting also, is it just people contemporary or it's historical, right?
it's 19th century.
Oh, 19th century.
Textile arts.
Oh, okay, not 20th century at all then. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had something.
And again, these are, as we promised Dr. Wheeler, these are programs that are related to, Sojourner Truth. And Carol was calling and had this vision after, she's participating in the exhibition, she came to see the statue, and she said, can we do this? And I think it's crazy good.
And it's March.
March 29th. We just got that approved. The other reason that we can't have it all week is because there's so much going on in this building. Like tonight, there's like 4 meetings. We have civil service testing going on. They need the whole, this was a fine line with us. Because it is related to the statute programming. This is programming statute. Sojourner Truth programming related to the
Will
statute.
the exhibition works be taken down for that weekend, so they'll go back up? So where's the room where there's room to actually hang things?
The chambers.
Oh, the chambers, where there's.
That's the
lots of
main
walls in
room,
there.
but also the first floor.
They hang them how from?
I don't know. She knows.
Is it going to be like a step and repeat type of hanging, like, how they have those?
She'd have to answer, she is doing this, so she'd have to answer these questions.
I hope that the walls of the city hall remain.
Because we won't be using them.
So it's really,
Freestanding.
that's what I'm thinking, natural.
What's the date again?
The 29th of March.
29th, okay.
I thought I heard a 9 in there.
God.
It's also Women's History Month, right?
Yeah.
So-
Nice, very nice.
We're closing out Women's History Month. And again, we have promised Dr. Wheeler some Sojourner Truth related or era-related programming through August when the statue leaves us. So this is probably the biggest one beyond the major installation that we will be doing.
Okay, so, congratulations. Any more comments about that? Kit, do you want to go on about with your directors?
Oh, no, I just hope that, I don't want to take much time because there's so much to be done. If there's any other questions, thank you for reminding me, Lisa, to add the Distinguished Artist Award. And I agree with Laura that we probably should put that on the agenda soon. But if there's any other,
I was interested in the 2025 goals. There were 2 that I highlighted here. One of them was the bullet, assist arts organizations serving those most in need and individual artists most in need in obtaining funding and needed services/resources. What does assist mean?
what I've been doing actually. A lot of, I pulled it, I don't know if you knew or remember that when Patty was here and when I first came on board, we had that we do grant reviews on the website. And I was staying up till midnight helping a lot of individual artists and organizations with grant reviews, grant pitches, and things like that.
Meaning their applications for grants that you were critiquing to make them more effective?
To help them to obtain funding. And, you know, I don't know, I do have a life, but I've watched every single administration coming in over the last 25, 30 years. And as we know, things shift with every new incoming federal administration. So I'm, you know, people are kind of concerned that the arts may be cut. I was concerned about the arts before COVID. I just saw enough to worry about before COVID even came down. And of course, we got a little comfortable because we had all of this COVID relief money. Now that's starting to get spent. And we're looking at next year saying, well, oh boy, that's all gone. So now it's time to ramp up and help people. And also there's a dependency on one funding source for too many organizations that are really starting to get themselves anchored here. And they really need to hopefully diversify their funding streams. So, you know, I'm hoping to set aside some time for, and when I say those most in need, you know, those who don't have dedicated grant writers, a lot of them don't. You've got, you know, directors that are wearing 5, 6, 7 hats, who are also hands-on with the programs after school and things like that. Some of these are people that are keeping kids safe off the streets after school. And other individual artists who are couch surfing right now that we want to keep in the city that are struggling. So any resources that I can help identify, and that includes housing. And we have a new program now from Family of Woodstock, and the Office of the Aging. It's a house share program. They even have the funding now for background checks and everything. So the elderly who need people living in their homes because it's hard for them to live home alone, but they're not ready to leave their homes yet, need someone living there. And so I've had 2 referrals now and gave a good reference to someone that, you know, has been working in this community. Again, we have a lot of young people couch surfing. There's even an app called couch surfing. And it's a little scary.
I'm too old to know it's.
It's too
Couch
big.
surfing.
Yeah.
Sleeping on someone's couch because you don't want to sleep.
That's couch surfing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Couches instead of.
Okay.
Because you can't afford it. And I know we're working on a lot of housing initiatives. I'm glad that, you know, the county has, you know, a director now of, you know, to focus on housing and homelessness. But, you know, I've had too many artists that come in and they're struggling, and not making ends meet. And, you know, I hate to see them go. Like we had said, you know, earlier that, you know, we don't build mechanisms city to county on how to really take care of these individual artists. Then where are we gonna have, what's gonna happen to our organizations, our galleries, you know, that are fed by our individual artists, so.
Could you also tell us about assist immigrant artists in obtaining resources and needed assistance?
That's new. These are 3 calls in a row that I've gotten, over the last couple of weeks. So I just put immigrant there to designate that, I am getting those, calls for assistance. And any way I can help them assist with resources, referrals, or anything like that.
Give us an example of an artist who called and asked for or X.
Basically, kind of concerned about citizenship, looking for attorneys. If we have the immigrant defense fund, these people don't know that we have the resources here. So basically, just sharing resources, and, you know, encouraging.
Okay, great.
That would be good if we, you know, on the commission, if we had like some kind of list of just knowing, you know, things like you're just saying, the immigrant
A resource guide.
resource, yeah.
We have resources, in Poughkeepsie as well as Kingston, and the mayor is very active with these resources.
And what,
So the mayor is very active with these, resources, the Immigrant Defense, League and others. And it's good to have, you know, an administrator that is very actively engaged with that
Yeah.
and has concerns that, you know, he's trying to help address. So as these calls come in, if I can help them in any kind of way, we sit and listen, and we help them to look for resources. I am kind of intrigued by the artists that we, immigrant artists that we have here. I don't think they, you know, go on a list anywhere, but, you know, they're starting to sell it.
Well, we have quite a few, and a lot of them are kind of under the radar because of their immigrant status. The island. Okay, let's go on to one other.
Congratulations on all your accomplishments.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
I rely on you all to assist. And, you know, as far as events, and I've mentioned this to Dina, because Dina was, I'm sorry, I'm not able to, you know, come in person on meetings, but it's like, you know, when we have these massive events, you're right there. What can I do? Taking things away from me, and it all counts. And I just appreciate so much your wisdom, your loyalty, your devotion, and our advisors as well. I thank you too.
You. Okay, continuing business, review and status.
Pardon?
The 2024 KAC resolution,
Oh,
2024 rules and procedures.
okay, so I have this one on that because we did work very hard on it, and we sent the last draft to Barbara Grace Poller, who gave it a check mark with flying color. She saw nothing wrong with it. The mayor took it and he submitted it to Lisa Tinty, and we present on the 15th.
Both of them?
We don't need to present the laws up to the rules and
Just the
procedure. but the resolution will go before laws and rules on the 15th. So we are, thank you very much.
And you said it was good if some of us appear.
Well, actually,
Yeah, you can't, there are no speakers.
No,
on
yeah.
the committee, but, you know, so you wouldn't say anything, but you could be there. I mean, I'll be there talking about.
Just as a support, thing, so
it
it's.
goes pretty fast.
It goes very
I
fast.
know, I was online for, when I did
Well,
it.
this time
I think I waited an
I'm not
hour.
in person,
Huh?
but I think the mayor presents. I'm not sure.
The mayor usually, yeah, the mayor would present because it's coming from the executive branch of
Yeah.
the city.
Right,
It's
so
just-
I will be with the mayor. If you want to come, fine, but you can just watch online and, I'm hoping
Well, I'll
that
see.
there's no problems and that we get it passed and we can move on. I mean, this was a bear, but we got through it. And, you know, sometimes, you know, to really study something, because that came in 18. And, you know, we also looked at, you know, the master plan that came through COVID. And it's like, here we are in 25, is it time to revisit the plan in 26? Plans, you know, we need to revisit every 3 years, because things change, things shift. But as far as, you know, what was known as priorities, I think a lot of it came up with the Ulster County Master Plan, same issues, transportation, housing, you know, a lot of the same issues that, you know, are still, noted here. And collaboration, you know, coordination, cooperation, so. But yeah, that's all done.
What time on the 15th?
I think it's,
The meetings are at 6:30.
6:30.
6:30.
And there's, yeah, so there's a, you know, an agenda of items, and I think it's probably at the top of the agenda because it's new business and some of the other items are old business.
Right.
So you can listen
You
to,
can
the dis-
listen
you
to
can
it
listen to the
online.
discussion. And I would say, I think this looks great. So just looking at it as a member of that committee, I can't imagine that there would be any questions that they would have, but
To the same committee reviewed the public works policy.
they did. Yeah.
And so they have a familiarity with what you're doing, and I think, so I don't, and that certainly, there was no questions really.
Well, I spent a lot of time though with.
But you talked to everybody.
Yeah.
Council members,
Yeah, you did.
as we were doing the public
Yeah.
art policy and getting their feedback, making sure, point to the things they should be aware of.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we didn't present them with this big, big stack, but with this, you know, it's
Yeah.
pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, it's what-
And it's also pretty clear that it needs to be updated because the previous resolution, at that time, there was no director of arts and culture. You know, and a lot of things have changed in 10
So
years.
that's
So it
all,
makes sense.
that's all.
Well, 2015 was the,
Yeah,
I think it was the resolution.
the Pleistocene era.
So we're done.
So the rules and procedures are complete too?
Mhm.
Oh, great. Because I wasn't in that last meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, but now about the Kingston Arts Commission members to join Public Art Committee, we talked about that, is that
Yeah, we're
correct?
going on.
Okay, and what I'd like to talk about, I'd like to put some new business into old business now and talk about our interviews with prospective.
Can't do that, on public.
Probably not.
Oh,
Not.
You want to go to executive session at the end of the weekend?
well, it seemed to me that the leadership it is wise to have new members on the commission before we choose a new chair.
Oh, yeah, that-
Yeah.
You want to do that?
So that it's a proper 9 people or many.
You want to do that? It's their, your recommendations are on the mayor's desk. And he's been mired with a few issues, so I think he's okay now to look at everything else.
Not issues related to the recommendation.
If you've been reading the paper,
traffic and safety.
traffic and safety issues and a few other things that come up that have really kind of bogged him down. We also have the state of the
State of the city.
city
was
address.
presented this week.
So,
The death on Fair Street, I guess.
yeah, so I think we're okay now to get that to his, the front of his, so that we can, get the nominations approved. And so we would like to push that off into the next meeting?
That's my recommendation.
Guess it's, yeah.
I don't live to be your acting chair.
It's
What do you think?
I'm not sure it's necessary to bring the new people on to vote for someone they don't know.
No, I was just about to thank you, that's just what I was
They're
thinking.
not familiar with the mechanics and the personalities and the needs that people, I remember when I was in Iowa, and it took me 3 meetings to get used to you all.
Yeah.
That was not a majority.
It seems to me, it seems like it's odd to be appointed to a commission and just the meeting before they decided who their leadership was going to be. It's like, what's going on here? That it's not, it doesn't feel inclusive to do it that way.
They don't know what they're voting for.
It's another feature of the business. It can happen, I mean, I've been boards in elections the week before. I had no effect on the election because I'm new, I was brought up to do the next bit of work. Because over in charge when I walk in, it's. It's like walking into a balance sheet, the figures are the same whether you affect them or not, and that's a bad analogy. But,
You just want them to be part of the process, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Just to be
Yeah,
well, they will,
to feel connected.
present.
but they will be part of the process.
They will not be part of the process.
Not that process, but overall.
Yeah, but that's a different, to me, that's different.
My feelings, I don't think, I really don't think it would matter to me, but huh?
It would matter.
I don't think it, huh? It would matter to you.
No, this is a municipal commission. Why did they choose, they haven't had a chair in, 3,000 years. Why did they choose the chair the meeting before I was appointed?
The first
onto-
month of the year.
Yeah, so.
No, man, it's the start of the new year.
The business goes on.
So I think, do we have a quorum? Can we?
We
vote
have
on
a
it?
forum. We have.
Yeah, so when are we voting on it? I mean, that's, how many of you would like to choose a new chair now? Okay. No problem. Nominations?
Lisa Kelly?
Other nominations? I would nominate Dina Suggs.
Well, don't you need a second for the first nomination, or are you just gonna throw names out?
I would like to second Lisa.
Okay.
And
And Dina Suggs, is there a second for her?
It's okay. Lisa, you want it?
So you just nominated Lisa, but then you're seconding.
No, I was seconding the nomination doesn't,
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it's just a formality, right? It's not a vote.
It's a formality, but it needs to be.
Put it into consideration.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not, no.
It moves into consideration.
Yes.
That's how we do it.
Okay, well, Lisa, would you like to leave the room?
Oh, do I need to be?
Usually that's what happens, isn't it?
Sure, yes. What does she need to know?
Well, maybe we can't because we don't have a quorum.
She doesn't need to be.
Oh, she doesn't? I thought, see, I'm just not.
She's a vote, she still votes.
Oh, okay,
Good, we're voting the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, all in favor of Lisa for our new chair? Okay, all in favor of Dina for our new chair? Abstain. Congratulations. Wonderful.
I'm sorry, did you say you abstained?
Yes,
Okay.
well, I thought after I nominate someone, I should.
At least say something, right?
So just to clarify, this is a vote to vote Lisa in to complete Marilena Ferrer Harrington's term
Which is still,
as chair. See, this is really still fuzzy.
Yeah.
She's already a commissioner. So the question came up as to whether, because she's now being voted into chair, was there a term limit for Maria Lena to be chair? She was already a commissioner, or does,
Isn't it in the
I
rules?
thought the chair was, we had this conversation, the chair was a year,
Say
right?
that you vote We
annually.
vote it annually. Yeah, we do vote annually.
So annually you would just renew or revote.
So Ward has been acting chair to fill in Maria Elena.
Right.
He's been vice president.
Because he's vice.
He wasn't ever voted for acting chair, he's been vice president, and he runs the meetings as vice president. Well, that's absent a chair.
But if it's annual voting, then I would start a new term.
Let's look into it, because also that, there's an item here about, terms for commissioners. So perhaps I just draw all the letters to talk about terms. And we can draw, Marilena, because are any of the new commissioners coming to fill seats and serve that time for Julio, Isabel, and Marilena? And if so, what is that time? So I think we gotta study this a little bit, but I think that's correct, right? Is if a commissioner leaves, then the new commissioner coming on is filling Julio's, the
They
rest
fill
of
their
their
term, so if there's a year left on that, say it's a 3-year term, and say they leave after, the commissioner leaves after 2 years. If you have somebody new come on to fill that spot, they fill that last remaining year, and then they are renewed.
Are renewed,
The reason for that is that you don't have everybody getting renewed on the same thing, everybody staggered, so that you have some consistency throughout.
Of course, I never got a termination on the balance of Linda's term that I came in, believe it, so.
Okay, so
We need to go
let's,
along.
let's study.
Thank you, Sue, for the clarification on the bonding.
That's my homework.
I'm just looking at the annual meeting, giving you the rules and procedures. And under annual meeting, it says the order of business shall approve election of officers and appointment of new and second term members. But that's probably just for new people who aren't filling out other people's terms. So I don't know. I'm just looking at the rules and procedures.
And when does the annual meeting?
The annual meeting is in June. And that's the order of business.
So we would do it
elections.
again, basically.
Better do it.
Well, because Board is no longer the vice chair or the acting chair. Are you still the vice chair?
I don't know.
Still,
You're still the vice chair.
You're not the candidate, you're still vice chair.
And
So
then
we'll
we-
get on top of that.
Yeah, I think if there's a vacancy in a position, you can vote to
You
do
can
that
vote, I
at
think
any.
so too. At any time to fill it through that next period.
Right.
Through June.
And by the way, I heard from Dina, she's not able to access, is she in California?
I forgot to told me.
She can't get on the internet.
Okay, shall we go on with the meeting? Have we have nominated, we have elected a new chair.
interim chair, or no, filling in, okay, whatever.
You are-
Figure it out.
you are the
Chair.
chair.
All right.
And you have a term, just like every.
Some term that
Would
we
you
don't.
like to go to the meeting, or would you like to?
You're the chair till June, and you're the vice chair till June, and you're the secretary till June. We have a
Yes.
retreat in June,
Oh, okay.
because I think that's what Marlena was saying at the Artsman Hudson meeting. Am I still, and we had to figure that out. And basically, it's a matter of, that's when you do what she just said.
What's, right, what your rules say.
No, please, continue. You opened the meeting, how can I, take it on?
Okay.
Just to clarify, if you want to talk about the nominations that were sent to the.
I think that's what is new business, I think we
can go
should,
to executive session.
that's what I think we should be
Okay,
doing.
we can do that. You can let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. Are we ready to go to executive session?
And you can make a motion and someone can second
To
to go into
adjourn the
the
meeting?
session.
Oh,
You have to state. the
Are you
reason.
the state?
You have to state the reason why.
meeting?
You're going to executive session to discuss.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss the nominations of new commissioners for the Kingston Arts Commission.
May I ask a question? So what's with this line of KAC, expected projects, next steps?
That will be part of that will end up being part of the
Executive session?
executive session. Or would you prefer to remove it from the new business and discuss it now before we go into executive session?
I think it should be part of an open meeting.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
very good. And the governance we will keep as part of the executive session.
Actually, isn't that my homework? To give it, to go and dig up all the letters and terms
You
and,
still have to work on that.
Yeah, but you would have talked about that during the executive session.
okay, because
So that will be in the record. Okay, so we will go to Kingston Arts Commission expected projects, next steps in 2025. Kit?
you have all the projects in my report.
That's the 2025 goals, is that?
Yeah, that's a 25 goals, pretty much projects, pretty much everything we got going on, plus any other things that might come from the mayor. But I think that the most important thing for me is moving this public art policy, getting the committee launched and getting the items that are in front of us moved, and then the funding plan,
Yes, I'm interested in the resource development plan.
the funding plan.
Is that a funding plan?
To identify the, and, you know, we should have a think tank session on that. To identify the, key areas. We had an initial meeting with the mayor, me, Ruth Ann, and, we did discuss, you know, kind of the sensitivities of being a municipality and soliciting, but as far as grants, we've got the green to go, of course. And, you know, Ruth Ann would like and the mayor would like us to focus on that which the city is directly eligible for as we work out the kinks for everything else. And Ruth Ann and Natalie being some of the greatest grant writers I've ever had the pleasure of working with, we will be developing concept papers per area. That's what Ruth Ann would like us to do, so that she can then understand what our priorities are for 26 going into 27. I think she has one grant, MEA, that she thinks that we should, think about pursuing, which is due in July. So we've got a few months right now, and then there's gonna be grants due in the fall, and there's gonna be grants due in January. So, what we wanna do with Ruth Ann over the next month or so, and then policy and funding is a priority in the master plan.
Is that something you want a committee formed?
Yes.
Or a task force?
Well, I was going to mention that in our, in this master plan for the arts, one of the things that I wanted to bring up today is that there was a priority for the creative economy. And it was strategy one to create a creative arts business alliance to serve and preserve Kingston's creative economy through advocacy and development of programs that support ongoing sustainability. And the way I see it, that if we do agree that that's an appropriate and important thing to do, that group can also help with fundraising.
Was that gonna?
Or we can say now that the more I think about it, we don't want a creative arts business alliance any longer. So that's, I was thinking about that because to have a group beyond the city government to help with supporting applications to Noble Foundation, to Artsman Hudson, et cetera, would not be a bad thing.
Well, I like that because we're not allowed to solicit, but if we had, that alliance, they would be well aware about projects, our needs, they'd be inspired, and they can offer anything they want to, we just can't ask. And kind is easier to receive, like, for instance, we need a lighting system, badly, in the ground floor. By the way, I did not, add this into my update, but we've had, one artwork sold. I didn't sell it. And we had.
What's your commission?
Yep, not allowed to touch
That's why
that.
you're a commissioner.
But we had one sold, we have several offers for another, and another offer has been made for another, so there's 3 artists who have come forward, once they, there's a lot of attention coming to this. But of course, the primary concern is that, and it's a concern for us working there, is that the ground floor is so dark.
Right.
We had 2 lights go out today, and I'm coming out going, my goodness, we need a flashlight. So we're approved by SHPO to have the lighting system. It's a matter of, and we had, the issue with the electricity. So it's gonna go beyond just having somebody come and say, okay, this is a good lighting system. We have electronic issues behind these walls that need addressing. That's a project in itself that could use business alliance. I mean, we have, Herzog's, Lowe's, others, if they knew what was going on, because they give all the time, they offer all the time. We have businesses that get rid of stuff constantly, like technology. They buy new stuff every year because they can, but they don't know us. I think there's something here too, like the business alliance concept. Not sure where I'm going with it, but I think that it would benefit us a lot to have something like that. Maybe, are we talking bi-monthly meetings or quarterly?
I think that they should be discussed, but I would like to know if there was someone who, either among us, who would like to be the acting chair.
Well, we had that Andrew Andrews, because he's involved in all of these alliances, and before he decided to leave us and become a common council member, he was on that, because he was the designated commissioner for that. Maybe the new people coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where, but I just want to say, I think, Ward's idea just really opens up that whole concept of also defining what an arts economy is and who really, let me rephrase that. It's also making businesses understand how they are part of an arts economy. Herzog's, do they think of themselves as part of an arts economy? No, probably
They
not.
support the arts, like.
But more than just supporting, I mean, there's a certain buy-in, and you and I talked about that once. Where instead of soliciting or asking for money, they come to us, they want to fund it. That's when you win, is when you're able to get people to really buy in, that they see their interest in it.
I
So,
can see us using these empty chairs for inviting people in, just to experience what we're up to, because they're not hearing it otherwise. Having a quick little cocktail mixer or something.
Yeah.
Well, they
And
have
I think we're
some of
really-
the events that Kit's already creating, right? Like,
Yeah.
if they're at the exhibitions, you're selling art here, right? So people are seeing it.
Word
Right.
of mouth is the best way to get the word out.
Right.
But we have a challenge with marketing. We have one communications director, and she's working for the entire city. And she's working for the mayor, and the mayor, she's putting out the information, the grants came down, and this is going on, and we have to block these streets. I mean, you get stuff all the time, so we get buried under that. That's our only mechanism. But if we were to, like you say, invite even quarterly,
What I was trying to say is access as opposed to event attendance. If you give people the gloss of being special enough to be included in your private managing discussions, they step up. If they're going to an event, they're going, oh, this is nice, and maybe you need help, but if we say to Herzog's or Lowe's or whoever, stop, the meeting is this week, we're serving wine afterward, we want you to see what we're trying to do with the arts community, and we want you to step in and help us without any obligation, because those of us at the table have a certain obligation. Our advisors have a different level of obligations, but our new friends have no obligation other than to experience, to touch you as a director and to associate with the commissioners.
But you also want to discuss what the priorities should be for a Creative Arts Business Alliance. And before the group meets, then they can comment on, or, embrace or not embrace. But to come in and say, hi, great to have you here, without having an idea of what, doing, helping with, I'm making this all up now, summer programs, for young people. I think you could decide whether the lighting system, thinking about what those priorities would be that would be necessary for a new entity like this to support.
So you do invite them.
One thing you might want to consider is an event that is a meeting that is attached to, so on the 29th of March, an invitation to participate and do a private presentation to people in the business community to say, this is, rather than this generic, because everybody is part of the arts economy and nobody is part of the arts economy.
So it's defining.
Yeah, so I think it's first to really define what it is, and then,
What the mission is, you mean, of this group.
yeah,
I think, my feelings, just also what you're describing, what is also, like a committee or whatever, that's budget and arts economy, because they intermesh.
Well, let me tell you what it says in the master plan as to what this alliance would be involved with, and you can decide what sounds good and what doesn't. Establish a representative coordinating committee comprised of community stakeholders to develop a framework and goals for the alliance. 2, offer workshops, seminars, and training to build business acumen of creative businesses. 3, identify funding opportunities and other financial support to aid struggling artists and businesses. 4, support arts education programs for youth and adults. I don't know.
That's rather large.
It may not be everything, but it's a place to begin to critique and say, no, we really need this instead, and then, oh yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
But I just thought, if this is all taken from the Art and Culture Master Plan, which is online, and I downloaded this and printed it out.
They also need to be tweaked.
Think about.
I think they also need to be tweaked. It ages.
I think that I just got an announcement that the Grants Management Office may be honing in on number 2. Say number 2 again, please.
Offer workshops, seminars, and training to build business acumen in creative businesses. I mean, we don't have to discuss it now necessarily. It was more to, that it seems to be a general feeling that this is something that we can and should pursue. Correct?
Yeah, I think it should be on the list.
Yeah.
Of projects.
This expands our capabilities if we take on new partnerships.
But we need to have a more discussion about how to do it and who should be on it.
Keep it on the agenda.
And there could be, the Chamber of Commerce members who are also creative businesses who might want to be involved, and certainly there's a list of creative businesses that came out of the Ulster County Arts and Culture Plan when there was some research being done, so compiling a list of who might be people who should be part of that, I think.
Yeah, there's the monthly ED group too.
Yeah, so there's so I think it sounds like a great idea to get it going.
That's why taking a look at the master plan is a good thing to do. The master plan for the arts, because this
For
is
the
sort of-
commissioners
Yeah.
to do specifically.
yes.
Right.
Okay.
Well, to go back to the funding plan, I think that the idea of concept papers is really exciting because it actually puts meat on the bone of like what it is that we need.
Well, you see
I think.
the areas I showed Ruth
Where
Ann
are the areas? Do you have
under
them?
goals in my update.
Oh, those goals, okay.
Those
Oh,
areas?
Those areas.
When I gave that to Ruth Ann, she said, I'm gonna give you a concept paper per area.
Okay, so each bullet.
Research the grant. And they have a really good template that I got today, so,
Where does securing your office fit into this exactly in the bullets? Like, in terms of.
I really
funding
don't
plan?
know when you're looking at, as we all go through that, area of admin and overhead and grants. As we know, we try to write percentages in where possible. We are dependent on one funding source right now. That funding source is obligated for the next 3 years. However, some grants allow you to write in a percentage, for admin and overhead.
De minimis.
But, you know,
I mean, I mean, the next steps for chartering your office, like, aside from being able to fund it, like, I mean, securing the longevity of.
I don't know about chartering. I know there's a couple of offices that are also not chartered. I was told that that's a long distance marathon run that we may or may not be able to get through.
Well, I recall that the public art policy was the first step towards moving into more legitimate waters. Or for the city to take
Permanency.
more, yeah, right.
Who's involved in this long distance? I mean, who is it the council? Is it the,
I don't know the process. I just know it's very long.
Right, I mean, charter
The chartering my office.
So
As a charter,
as making it an official department that's funded by the city. The
Right.
city would have to assume funding for it, and right now, given the budget restrictions and the fact that we just have to raise taxes, it's probably unlikely that, we were lucky not to have laid off anybody, let alone bring
It's
new
still-
positions that would be permanent within the city government.
it still rests within the council, though, right?
Pardon?
It still rests.
The city budget rests within the council.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, the reason I just want to just bring this up is that I really, and we did this early on in the commission, maybe it was Matt, I can't remember. But where we really we just met with council people, just to talk, you know, just to keep developing relationships so that when this issue comes up, we've had a long history of conversation, and it's not just, you know, just suddenly, and I think that's not a committee, that's something like, you know, any group of us, you know, could do. It's not all the time, you know, it's just here and there. I mean, I've sat down with Steve Shabbat, I've sat down with Remy, I've sat down with you, you know, we've all, you know, and I think it, you know, it just,
And what would you discuss when you sat down?
sometimes just to say what's being done, you know, I mean, I was talking with them about, you know, the burning of Kingston event, the Sojourner Truth, all these things that are.
So
in
just to give them a sense of the programs that the office is.
And what did they
helping
think?
to support.
And what did they think, and how important did they feel, you know, I mean, it was just chatter, you know, I mean, it was just, and it was just before the budget, it was too late for the budget, but just saying, you know, and how underfunded the ACA is. And, you know, do you want to lose it? You know, that's pretty much.
This brings us back to, one of the priorities of the master plan for Center for Art. It has its own page. And, you know, we did hear from Ruth Ann, it would be complicated, but it's not impossible. And they're just kind of waiting to hear from the commission. That part of the master plan does have legs. It says a lot about percent for art, and then the commission would give recommendations. We have, the opportunity here to kind of teach, about that and help the city to identify ways that percent for art can actually happen. That would be page 56, develop a percent for art program to fund public art projects, residencies, education, establish a subcommittee of the KAC to work with the Department of Arts and Cultural Affairs to research programs in comparable cities, seeking benchmark information, create an advocacy campaign that highlights data, the financial blah, blah, blahs, you know.
Can I suggest that the percent for art is very, very important, and that we make it into the next, something to discuss at the next meeting or meetings, or do you want to have a subcommittee?
Well, that's what it says, develop a subcommittee, and, this is the critical.
To develop a percent for art policy or to
Well, it says to
administer?
develop a municipal art plan and standard operating procedure to develop a step-by-step, who, what, where, how, when, of, projects to be funded by the Percent for Arts program. I think what you were doing when you created this was, what is the basis of even hearing about it, first of all? So that's number 4. It says the commission is leading this with the common council in tow, not by itself.
Well, I think what is also, this is something that so many American cities already have, that to not take advantage of other cities' percent for art policies and discussing with the cultural affairs people in those cities how this came about. I mean, must have been over 5 years ago when I had a discussion with the woman who's head of cultural affairs for the city of Asheville. And, they do this now, and it's just part of what
That's
they
a
do.
dedicated subcommittee that is gonna focus on that, because it's pretty heavy stuff. I don't even speak the language.
But it also needs your assistance.
Yeah, it does say me too.
Yeah.
It
Right.
is the only
But-
mention of a committee, I'm sorry, the only mention of having a committee in the whole master plan, but it gives, it sort of validates then having committees.
This must have been when Sarah just said they had to raise taxes this year. And the mayor said to me, how am I going to justify to the taxpayers that we're pulling money out of the budget when we're looking at emergency services, the need for infrastructure and all this other stuff for the arts, unless we let them know how important and critical the arts are.
Well, also, but percent for art has to do with capital projects,
Absolutely.
city capital projects. It doesn't have to do with operations.
That's right.
And so it's when the city has decided it, I'm making this up, of course, it needs to build a new firehouse and it's going to spend $20 million on that other cities would say, well, then, we should have a 3%, 0.5% an amount for public art for that project.
I'd like to talk about this a little more when we go into executive session. So let's put a pin in it. I think that it's a good thing to start a subcommittee that stays on this because we know that the city needs help in trying to figure this out. And we know Maggie has suggested and others that there are ways to make this happen. But without being able to tell them the how, when, where, what, why, it's just going to be in limbo. So I think a dedicated subcommittee to really focus on this is necessary, but I'd like to mention how we can get that done in the executive session.
Okay, so we'd like to adjourn the general meeting and go into executive session.
I have one more suggestion. I liked your idea about having a private maybe even a pre-session to one of these events. Like a pre-screening, you invite people who are, it's a one-day thing, it's only one day, but you get to come the night before, and we'd really like to talk about our goals and what we'd like to do and how we could be a part of it. So if we could figure out for this next.
So like a VIP.
A VIP.
Yes, a VIP sort of.
You're having it anyway,
This
it's
event.
probably gonna be mostly set up the night before or the day before.
It's a massive setup, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Or it's really in the wording.
Behind the scenes.
Or there's a little food.
Yeah, a little behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah, breakfast. I love my invitations from Dorsey. I've had a VIP treatment thing before the public is invited, you are invited to
A
go.
special VIP treatment with coffee and bagels before
Yes,
the
yes.
show opens to the public.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good.
Put that on.
You're coming.
I'm coming, yes. Already on my calendar.
And it's very cost effective.
Yeah, we're doing it anyway.
Anyone else before we adjourn this part of the meeting? Thank you, Cicely.
Are we adjourning or you're just going into executive session.
Whatever word
The
you'd like me
meeting still
to use.
continues.
You choose a word,
I think
and I'll
part of it
repeat
is,
it.
is there something that will come out of the executive session that needs to be reported in the general meeting because
Yeah.
there's a decision being made or something happening that,
So we don't adjourn, we're going into.
and go
We're-
into executive
We're
session.
going offline now.
You're just going
You're just-
into.
Please forgive
executive
me, everyone.
See, we would leave the public and we'd go behind closed doors.
We are not adjourning.
You're not
We're-
adjourning.
We're going, we're stepping into
Tiptoeing.
executive